Yu Yu Hakusho is bringing us 28 new spam foundations. Spam foundations are 0 difficulty and 1 difficulty foundations. Very, very easy to build. Because of that, they typically don't have the best effects. With My Hero Academia Set 1 rotating, a lot of the best spam foundations are rotating out of the game. It's no secret that design for the 0 difficulty foundations in My Hero Academia Set 1 was utterly broken. With cards like Tight-Lipped, Requesting Assistance, Release, we don't have any 0 diffs really close to that kind of power level in the game right now. Unless you count, for example, like Basic Training, or Easily Excited is giving you 1 stat on your turn. So the power level of 0 difficulty foundations is much, much healthier now than it was in set 1 of My Hero. And we're going to see that. A lot of the best spam foundations of the game are rotating out. I'm thinking of like Self-Sacrifice as a 1 difficulty own foundation destruction outlet. You're getting +1 or -1 damage. I mean, these were crazy spams in My Hero Academia Set 1. So let's talk about the 28 spam foundations in Yu Yu Hakusho. Which ones are the staples? Which ones are maybe more niche, but they're going to be excellent when you can use them? Let's start off with 0 difficulty foundations. We have 4 0 diffs coming out. That is it. Only 4. And 2 of them I think are probably bad. Demonic Teamwork and Banshee Sword Shriek. Banshee Sword Shriek is fine. It's just that flip after a weapon attack is played, it gets +2 or -1 damage. If you're playing a weapon attack lineup, then flipping for +2 damage on a 0 diff is fine, but it's a 3 mid block. You are gating yourself into only weapon attacks. Demonic Teamwork is also a flip cost, and it's only for 1 stat. Now you get to choose if it's a speed or a damage, but both of these, you could be doing something better. Like, in my opinion, a lot of us are very conditioned from the My Hero format to put in a lot of 0 difficulty foundations in our deck. We feel like we need 6 to 10 0 diffs in the foundation lineup, and I don't think that's true. I think you would be better off only playing 2 to 4 0 diffs and having a higher difficulty foundation lineup than wasting foundation slots on abilities like these. That's my opinion. Okay, decent 0 diffs. I have Spirit Beast Pew. It's totally blank, but it checks a 6, and after you block with it, you get to build it committed. So if you block with it, it's like a pseudo -1 speed to all of your rival attacks, and then you got an extra foundation. And it's an ally foundation. It's on life and good and all. The only problem with this is that the life symbol right now has I feel like there's at least 6 0 diff foundations it has access to that are completely blank. And I'd probably play the 6 check that is a 1 high block Ryukyu's 0 diff over Spirit Beast Pew. But this is fine. If you need some 0 diffs, go ahead and put this in. This is going to be very good in draft and sealed, simply because we don't have a lot of 0 diffs. Like I said, we have 4 0 diffs, and Botan's Coaching is a rare. You won't be seeing that in draft and sealed. And then Demonic Teamwork is an uncommon. So at the common level, you're practically only going to see Sword Shriek and Spirit Beast Pew in your draft. So on those symbols, might be a reason to go and play those symbols. Okay, excellent 0 diffs. We have Botan's Coaching. Flip, both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. This feels really good, especially on Void Symbol with Rejuvenating Smash. Now you've turned on your Rejuvenating Smash to get your free momentum because you've technically discarded a card. It forces your rival. If your rival has 1 card in hand on defense and you know that they have sculpted that and it's a block, this is a breaker block, some sort of hand trap, you can flip Botan's Coaching and force them to stop their sculpt and draw something random. Maybe they know your block zones, like you're playing an all high attack lineup, and so they're holding on to their high blocks, and now you can get them to get rid of their high block and possibly draw a lower mid block. There's a lot of applications here. It could just help you get into a better hand, a handful of attacks. Maybe you need a better block. You can use this. Lots of applications. Feels very good for a 0 diff. This is the perfect power level. Probably bad stats-focused 1 diffs. I separated out the 1 diffs. We got 24 of them. I separated them out into 12 1 diffs that are focused on stats and 12 1 diffs that are doing something other than stats. Let's go into probably bad. I've got these 4. Battle Aura, when it's committed by a rival effect, you can flip it for -2 damage. I'd say it's probably bad because 1, your rival has to be playing a stun type deck. 2, you're going into some damage reduction deck. Maybe this isn't even the attack that you wanted to reduce the damage for. Cruel Intent, you get to flip for 2 speed. If it deals damage, your rival flips a foundation, but it's gated into the slam keyword, which is not the most popular keyword in the world. No Restraint, discard momentum, your weapon attack is 3 speed. That's pretty solid, giving all of your weapon attacks like EX3, and it is a 2 low block. It's a Fury for some reason. I'm just now noticing that. But your deck should already have momentum outlets built in. You know, your attacks should have momentum outlets. If I want a momentum outlet on a foundation, it needs to be readying itself. Master of 1,000 Faces, you get to flip for +2 or -2 damage, and it's a 2 low block. That should be worth it. However, it's gated, right? If either player has discarded a card from their hand this combat phase, this ranged attack gets +2 or -2 damage. So they gated it in 2 ways. Somebody has to have discarded something, and it has to be a ranged attack. Not a big fan of that. I would have been here for just a 1 diff spam foundation 2 low block that flipped for +2 or -2. Just a little too heavily gated. Decent stat focused 1 diffs. We have Human Hunter, Set the Record Straight, Shinobi Prodigy, and Display of Power. Of these 4, I think Display of Power is the best by far. It was the one I was thinking about putting in the excellent category with the other 4. I just couldn't think of one of the other 4 to actually take out for it. But Human Hunter and Display of Power are both committing for 3 stats. Display of Power feels a little more free in that you commit. If either player has 6 or more foundations in their stage, this attack gets 3 damage. That should happen almost all of the time. After like turn 3, both players should be at 6 foundations. A 1 diff committing for 3 damage is very, very strong. When you know that your attack is going to go through, you can put it on a throw attack. It does not say non-throw. That feels nice, but it is committing for stats. And when we look at spam foundations that are focused on stats, we want those to be free and repeatable. Tight-lipped, for example. Flip a foundation, +1 damage. We can use that on every single attack. And then especially if we're going to pair that with like self-sack, a 1 diff, destroy a foundation, give it +1 damage. When you put those 2 foundations together, I'm going to flip for +1, destroy for +1, feels incredible. It's very free, it's very repeatable on your turn. That's what we're looking for. Display of Power is not repeatable, and it is a tiny bit gated. So that's why it's here in the decent category instead of the excellent category. Shinobi Prodigy, a 1 diff foundation flipping for -3 speed should be crazy. Like, I love Fast Friendship, for example. I think that's a staple on all of its symbols. The problem with Shinobi is it's after your rival's attack deals no damage, the next attack played this turn gets -3 speed. So you're giving an attack speed and you don't even know what attack they're playing. That's my big issue with it. Your rival can very easily play around this, and I like to have perfect knowledge of what I'm reducing the stats of. I don't want to reduce the speed of an attack and then they play a throw and their speed doesn't matter, or they're playing some sort of massive attack where 3 speed doesn't make a difference. You really, when you're flipping a foundation for minus speed, you want that to have a very good reason. So Shinobi is not quite consistent enough for me. Set the Record Straight, discard a card for -2 damage. I think that Chu should be playing this card. I was playing a few Earth and Order Chu lists recently, and Chu draws 5 on the rival's turn. Realistically, he's only going to be blocking 2 or 3 attacks. Even if you have 5 cards in hand, you only have the foundation stage built to block 2 or 3 in a turn. And so having a discard outlet for damage reduction feels really nice. Like I said, damage reduction is going to be a very popular strategy in the upcoming format. Human Hunter is gated to after your attack deals damage, your next attack gets 2 speed and 1 damage. Well, after my attack deals damage, speed shouldn't be too much of an issue, right? I want to put speed on my early attacks that are not dealing damage because I want my rival to be committing out to block them. Well, after I do damage, they're probably pretty committed out in their stage. I want to be giving my stuff damage, not speed. So that feels a little bit backwards to me, but for committing for 3 stats on a 1 diff is not bad. There's no world in which that's bad. And our excellent stat-focused 1 diffs are, we got a pair of Hiei Foundations, Paying the Cost and Unmatched Quickness, Resting Up, and Frightening Calm. Paying the Cost is free. It's lose 1 health, your attack is +1 damage. Lose 1 health in this game, if you're killing them, you don't care about losing a health. And we have a lot of ways to just regain that health back. We have a lot of strategies that if you lose health, you're unlocking things. You're unlocking things like Unmatched Quickness. If you have 10 or less health, this attack is +1 or -1 speed. Unmatched Quickness is the definition of free and repeatable. Once you're at 10 or less health, you don't even have to do anything. All of your stuff is getting +1 speed. And on defense, all of their stuff is getting -1 speed. I was talking with, I think, George yesterday, the national champion in the US, and he said he was playing against an Elder Toguro deck that got to less than 10 health. And then Elder Toguro was giving, he had 3 of these in his stage, was giving everything of his -3 speed and then swapping the speed and damage, and he could just never touch them. You know, 7-handers, I think, love Unmatched Quickness. Like Dobby 2, Toga 1. It's not very hard to get to 10 or less health in those characters. It is going to be a little niche because there's going to be a lot of characters like Void Jin, for example. Jin never wants to be at 10 or less health, so this card wouldn't make sense for him. But in the characters it works. It really, really works. Paying the Cost, Unmatched Quickness, very, very free stats. On defense, we have Resting Up, commit for -2 speed, and it's a nice low block. If your character is committed, it becomes -3 speed. If your character's committed, this is better than Ice Gliding. And Ice Gliding to me is maybe the best spam speed reduction foundation in the game. And this is better than it if your character's committed. Commit for -3 speed on this attack is better than commit for -2 speed and -1 to the next if it's blocked. Because now you're having to force yourself to also block the next attack if you really want to take advantage of the full speed reduction benefit of Ice Gliding. Resting Up just puts it all on that one attack. And if your character doesn't have any defensive abilities, just commit your character on your first block. You know, instead of committing foundations, commit your character. Resting Up is now live. A lot of characters want to be committed, and then you can use this with them. A lot of the tenacious, playable while committed characters want themselves to be committed. I'm even playing this on my good Hawks list, even though I never want Hawks to be committed, simply because it's a way to get Hawks' response off. So I can say -2 speed, respond -3. Or if my rival is like Younger Toguro and they commit down Hawks, then this foundation gets better in my stage. Or if it's like turn 2 and I had to commit Hawks to pass a check, then Resting Up feels really nice to get me through that turn 2 attack string on defense. Frightening Calm, destroy a foundation. This attack gets stun 1. Destroy a foundation is not really a cost. Most of the time, it's actually a benefit to have that in your stage. You're getting to destroy your face-down foundations, build in face-up foundations. This shares the death symbol with Snack Time. So between Snack Time and Frightening Calm, destroy a foundation, discard a card. Hey, all of your attacks are getting stun 2 now. That is going to break down 90% of rival walls, giving all of your attacks stun 2. Feels incredible. So these are the 4 that are the most free and the most repeatable stats. I'm not saying they're going to work for everybody. Resting Up, you want your character to be committed. Unmatched Quickness, you have to be at 10 or less health. But when they work, they really, really work. Our probably bad non-stat 1 diffs. Got Yoko Form, Quick Recovery, Out of Reach, and Kind-Hearted. And these are all cards that some of these I thought were pretty good when they first came out, like Out of Reach. And then I started playing Out of Reach in my decks and realized that destroy and discard 1 momentum to discard a air attack from your card pool. A lot of times either A, it wasn't online. Clearing my card pool, I want to do most on turn 2, but I don't have momentum on turn 2. By the later stages of the game, I was putting it in my Jin lists. By the later stages of the game, my progressive really didn't matter too much. And I still wanted my momentum to dump it into For example, on Air Gen, I wanted to dump that into Walk the Dog. I needed that 3 damage in order to be able to kill my rival. Kind-Hearted feels good in Kuwabara. Like, I play a few copies in my Kuwabara list. And anybody else, though, you have to be building the card basically in the middle of your combat phase if you really want to take full advantage of it. Quick Recovery, again, it costs some momentum. You'll notice that's a pretty recurring theme here is I don't like spam foundations where to do the thing they want to do, it's costing you a momentum. I think you should probably be having better momentum outlets than a spam foundation. Yoko form, if there's an ally card in your card pool, ready one foundation that's not been readied, I can see some pretty crazy interactions with Yoko form. This is the one here that could probably be good a lot of the time, but it is gated to ally cards. So like 90% of us are never going to touch this card. And you're having to destroy it. So you're not getting a benefit. The reason you're readying that foundation is not for a progressive difficulty benefit. It's not helping your checks. You're having to destroy to do it. The reason you're doing it is because that foundation has some sort of crazy ability that you can now reuse. One that comes to mind is the Ally Foundation Demon Plants. You're going to ready it, and then you're going to commit it again, and your next attack does not count towards progressive difficulty. That type of interaction might feel pretty good. Okay, our decent non-stat 1 diffs. We got like Adaptable Anatomy. We got some very good Throw Hate. It's going to feel really good in matchups where it matters, and really blank in matchups it doesn't matter. To me, it's the definition of a sideboard card. You put this in, hey, now Evil Shigaraki doesn't just explode to throws. You side this in, and now Evil Shigaraki 3 just mostly explodes to throws. We have Reborn Human. After an attack deals damage, gain 1 health. This is a little better than like Energy Suction because you can also use this on your rival's turn. Arrogant Fighter, when you destroy it, you're sealing a rival foundation. Mill 1. We have a lot of decks that want to mill themselves, although it's not really on the mill symbols. We wish it had fire here. But after it's destroyed, the death symbol gets a lot of ways to destroy foundations. Sealing a rival foundation is a big deal. You can seal down their best thing. Death Shoto 4 probably really likes this card. Acrobatic Style, a 1 diff flipping to ready. Checks a 5. It's a low block. That's pretty decent. This isn't winning you any games, but it feels nice to have in your deck. And then our excellent non-stat 1 diffs. These are the 4 that you really want to be playing. Genkai's Training has no block. Commit. If you try to block this attack with a card that shares at least 2 symbols, your block modifier becomes 0, and then discard a momentum, ready it. So like I said, if I have a momentum outlet on a spam foundation, I want it to be readying itself. Genkai's Training is doing that. You can use it on offense or on defense. You can use it. I could have put this in the stat category because in a way it's like -2 speed, -3 speed, and then it's repeatable. So it could have gone in there, but I decided to put it here in this category. And then the other 3 foundations are all very, very similar. Fearsome Transformations, flip, draw. If you have momentum, discard. Settling Old Debts, flip. If each player has 6 or more foundations, draw. Final Test, flip. If you've discarded a card this combat phase, draw. So Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament is giving us a ton of 1 difficulty foundations with practically free draws. Flip to draw is very, very strong on a 1 diff. And we are getting a lot of card advantage in this set. Settling Old Debts should be live by turn 3 90% of the time. Fearsome Transformations, you can get this live on turn 2 very easily. Let's say you're playing Phantom Threat, it goes to your momentum, there you go. Force Quirk activation, put something in your momentum, you did it. Steaming Sphere's Power, you can get momentum. You can use like Jin's attack that says if it deals damage, you get a momentum. There's lots of ways to get that online. The Final Test is the most heavily costed of these 3 flip to draws, but it's the best one because it's a form ability instead of an enhance ability. That's going to be a lot harder for your rival to interact with. And then you can use it on, for example, the Order and All symbols. You can combo this with Award the Victor. So you award the Victor if it deals damage, put it on top of your deck. Your next check gets +2. You're going to form the Final Test. You're going to draw that attack right back. And your next check is +2, which means you could very realistically check a 7. If you check a foundation, it's going to be a 7, and you can just play that attack for free. I think there's some cool combos there that you can do with this form flip to draw. We really haven't seen a lot of draw abilities on forms. And I think Yu Hakusho actually gave us about 3 or 4 ways to form draw, but the others are on 2 defs. This is on a 1 def. If you've discarded a card this combat phase, hey, a lot of these symbols have a lot of cards on them where you can discard a card. So that's not the most unrealistic condition to put on the card. And that is going to do it for our spam foundations in Yu Hakusho. We have Genkai's Training, Fearsome Transformation, Settling Old Debts, the final test as excellent. Over here, Paying the Cost, Unmatched Quickness, Resting Up, Frightening Calm as excellent stat-based spam foundations. And on the 0 defs, I have Botan's Coaching. Those are the 9 foundations that if you're on those symbols and you can do it, you're putting 3 or 4 of those cards in your deck.